we are just getting parked here for night number 3 of the 2021 Knoxville 360 Nationals. Now, usually on the third night, we were informed that you actually don't bring your rig in. You kind of bring your pit meal, your pit cart, and you bring anything that you could possibly need during the night along with your race car, because there's gonna be about 90 360s here in the pit area. But tonight we are actually gonna be racing a Storm, and I have it here on Bennett's phone. It is currently about 2:30 right now, but this is what the weather is supposed to look like at about a 7 tonight when the races are gonna be starting. We are gonna be getting pretty messed up by a huge thunderstorm, and it's supposed to go on for about 1 to 2 hours. I think they're kind of preparing the racetrack for a lot of water, so the surface is very hard right now, kind of sealed up. But we just got parked and we're gonna head in. I'm sure we're gonna unload here soon. But as I mentioned, tonight we are racing a Storm. So we are gonna be in the D main event, one of the first races to hit the track. They're gonna have an E, and before that they're gonna have hot laps. So we're gonna keep you guys updated on what the weather looks like. But like I said, kind of unusual for all these rigs to be coming in the pits for night number 3 of the 360 Nationals. All right, well, it is currently about 5 o'clock right now, 30 minutes before the drivers' meeting, and we are all parked and unloaded here on the back straightaway at Knoxville. And as I talked about, a storm is possibly moving in the next couple of hours, and you can almost feel it in the air. It was hot and humid, and now it's starting to get a little bit colder. There's a breeze. It feels like those thunderstorms are starting to roll in here soon, but we're gonna still move forward with the night. They already bumped the start times up by over an hour, so we're gonna be getting hot laps started sooner, pit meeting started sooner, all that stuff, and then we're gonna be rolling into all of our lower mains. Now, as I talked about, we are in the D main tonight. Our goal is hopefully just to get more laps around this racetrack. We easily could have scratched or decided not to run because we're in a bad position. But we're not those type of people. We wanna give it the best shot we can, continue to try to move forward and take advantage of our weekend here and continue to enjoy this beautiful town that has so much love for racing. So that is gonna be coming up next. Like I said, we have the pit meeting, and then we'll be rolling right into hot laps and get suited up for the night. Well, hot laps are complete for the Saturday portion here of the Knoxville 360 Nationals. Our D main event is gonna be up next. I felt a little bit better there in hot laps, but unfortunately I did not get a clean lap. A couple of the cars in front of me caught each other, and with just how many of the cars were out on the racetrack, because they threw half the D main out in one group and then half in the other group. We just weren't able all to get spread apart enough. But in certain corners and certain spots I felt good, and the racetrack's already starting to slicken off about a lane and a half off the bottom, so hopefully we have a good surface for the D. I am gonna get strapped back in because this is a quick turnaround, but we think we possibly found a problem, which I'm gonna talk about a little bit later in the video, that was killing some horsepower, and kinda it starts to connect some of the dots why we were feeling some of the things with the setup on the race car and the lack of power. But anyway, we are gonna be rolling off from 11th here in the D main event. We'd really like to get some more laps around the place, work on running the bottom, the middle. The racetrack isn't super wide, but it is starting to head that direction. So let's get strapped back in and head out for the D. so we made it through the D main event there. We started, I think, 11th and ran 6th. I thought they were only going to be taking 4, but they ended up taking 6th, and we were able to make a late race pass there on a restart. Everyone bunched up kind of around the bottom. We just blasted the top, passed a couple of cars. So we talked about maybe finding some of our issues, but at the same time, the engine still is making a really weird noise, specifically on the bottom side of the racetrack. When I keep my foot in it, you can't hear it as much, but even my crew down in 3 and 4, they talked about hearing it. So we're going to make some changes, head on out, see if we can fix some stuff, but we're going to be last here in the seat. But as we talked about, more laps here on this Saturday night show. Quick turnaround before we need to head out.
Jacinto in 5 over Copeland, then Leffler's. We've got a major crash here on the front straightaway. Couple of drivers upside down, but the 24 in.
All right, so our car is still in good enough condition to continue. We just had a ton of guys jump in and help fix it, but pretty much I don't even know what to say about that wreck. That was crazy. A car wrecked in front of me on the front stretch. I tried to slow down. I was going to miss it, and then another car hopped my tire, and it just huge. Like one of the worst wrecks I've ever seen in front of me. So anyway, we're going to continue on. We had one really good lap there. We passed a bunch of cars. It's probably going to revert back, and we're going to start at the tail, but at least we can continue. That was that was mayhem to start the C main. But like I said, at least we got the top wing back repaired and ready to roll. Well, that is exactly why I wanted to run tonight. As I mentioned earlier, we could have easily scratched, not ran, kind of given up, but we decided to run tonight, get some more laps around the Knoxville Raceway. Started 11th there in the D, drove it up to 6th, and was able to transfer into the C, and that's exactly what I needed, was more laps. Had a couple cautions fly my way. The first couple laps of the D were nothing special. If anything, I was just out there missing the bottom, in the slick, just not really doing my job, but was able to make it through the D. And then in the C main event there, we had an early race crash, which was absolutely hectic. Really hoping the guy was okay. Someone hopped a tire going onto the front stretch. They ended up in the fence. I went to slow down to miss it, and then someone ended up hopping my left rear, which knocked down my top wing. I couldn't see. They ended up flipping. It was a huge red flag with debris all over the racetrack. So it was a complete mess. I came into the hot pit and a ton of teams jumped in, as well as my own crew, to get everything fixed. One of the main things, that crunched up my front wing, but they were able to kind of straighten it back out without putting one on. And then also I talked about top wing damage. The car flew over my left rear that flipped, hit right here, and which actually took both posts out, which are tightened by a bolt, which that was even more impressive. And it was probably better because it didn't damage the wing. It just, I don't know where the posts went. They're still somewhere sitting on the track maybe, and it knocked the wing down. So they fixed my vision because they got my wing back up. Then I started again at the back and was able to drive to a respectable 8th place finish from 24th. So I'm happy with that. We kind of ran through the D, made a solid charge, through the C, and ended up 4 spots out of a transfer. Now also, I ran out of tear-offs there at the end, and at one point, literally under the red, I had to take my helmet skirt off and literally spit on my visor and just try to clean it so I could see for the last restart. So the track still had a lot of grip, both bottom and top. One other thing to mention, which we'll talk about here after the feature, is the A's getting ready to roll off, but we did still struggle with some engine problems, and my crew can still hear it from the infield. It's just not making a great noise. It doesn't run good on the bottom, and that's mainly why I stayed around the outside of the racetrack, so I could just keep my foot in the gas and rip around the top and keep my momentum up. Every single time I had to break momentum, lift, go to the bottom. Even if you could hit the bottom, it was good, but if you had to lift it all, the engine just would stumble and not want to keep going, and also it wasn't good on start. So that's kind of why I just kept it up top, used the restarts to my advantage, and had some fun. So overall, like I said, 24th to 8th in the C, almost made the B. We'll take that for my first time here at Knoxville in a 360, and overall just getting some laps and the experience I had was truly a dream come true here at the sprint car capital of the world. Well, real quickly, before we get the 18T all loaded up and we hit the road back home to Southern Oregon, I want to take a second to thank my sponsors who have been riding along with us through 2021, and some of them even before the season started. Starting off with Next Gen Def on the side of the top wing. We also have Pit Stop USA, who these guys just hooked me up with the new suit. We got OMA KTM, QRC, and Earth It Environmental. Another one of our largest sponsors and partners is On-Site Screeners and Fast 4 Media. And the race car is almost so dirty you can't even see the logos on the center of the top wing, but we also have Carson Oil, Lafarge, Pit Stop USA again, and ABC Powder Coating. So the 18T is all loaded up, but a couple other people I want to thank, and that is everyone on our crew. We have all been together for like the last 2.5 weeks in the RV, in the trailer. It's been a roller coaster. We all have the same common goal, and that is to try to put the 18T in victory lane and get better and better. So thank you to Roger, Carissa, Carly, my mom and dad Bennett, and to all my fans for helping us out. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been cool to have the 18T at all these new places as we try to get faster and faster. To end today's video though, we have to go out to the Knoxville Raceway and show you guys the track. Well, the Knoxville Raceway is sure one incredible place. The atmosphere here, everything about it, I totally see why they call it the sprint car capital of the world. And I wanted to end our final vlog from Knoxville. Unfortunately, we're not able to stay for the Capitani Classic Front Row Challenge 410 Nationals. I know the city only gets more electric from what everyone tells me, but I had to end the video right here on the front straightaway with Victory Lane in the background. We have these gigantic grandstands behind me, the flag stand, everything about the Knoxville Raceway, like I said, is just absolutely incredible, and it was a dream come true to be a part of the 360 Nationals. Now, as far as tonight went, like I said, we ended on some sort of a high note for our team. We made it through the D main event and then was able to put on a little bit of a charge there in the C, advancing 16 positions from last to 8th, just 4 spots out of a transfer. I think maybe if we could have avoided that first lap incident a little bit better, maybe didn't get the wing knocked down, because as I mentioned, those front posts that hold the wing, when that guy hopped my left rear, and I don't even know if you could recreate it because it's so weird and I need to watch the footage back because Dirt Vision didn't catch the whole thing, but he hopped my left rear and it just like knocked the wing up, the post fell out, and then the wing got knocked down, and then so many people rushed over to the work area to help me, which I'm thankful for. We had a long red and plenty of time to fix the front wing, kind of get it straightened back out and get the top wing back to its normal position. But I think if we maybe could have avoided a little bit of that, maybe everything would have went better. But I did tell you guys about some engine issues and some of the problems we kind of figured out, but more that we need to investigate into. The main thing is the engine does not really want to take off, and it takes a lap or two for it to really get going, but it's still almost down on horsepower. Now, we did change the high speed earlier because I think that went bad. So we're having a couple of issues there, and we had to change that and take the high speed that was in the car and go and get it repaired. But we just need to look a little bit more into our 360 program for these larger racetracks. We're just not used to running on a half mile. As I tell people, the racetracks that I'm used to driving on fit in the parking lot. But anyway, as I said, Knoxville Raceway, it was fun. We got to come back here more in 2022 and get some more laps before the Nationals and then enjoy the whole entire week. But anyway, this is going to be our final vlog from the sprint car capital of the world, at least this year. Thank you guys so much for watching, and to all the fans in this area, you guys are absolutely amazing. You were so good to me, and I can't wait to come back more in 2022. Anyway, that's going to recap the Knoxville 360 Nationals. We will see you guys all when we get back home at Oregon, and then guess what? Carly is back in the car for 7 nights of racing for Oregon Limited Speed Week. See you guys all there. Deuces.